Hey guys, what's up? We're back here with another one. This is Chaos. You know which album we're doing already, just based off the title. It's Cowboys from Hell. This is album review number 12. It's Pantera, obviously. Let's get into the first song of this album, Cowboys from Hell. Honestly, I would give this an 8 out of 10. This is basically Pantera's anthem. Basically saying we're coming here to party, we're gonna give you a good time. We're gonna sing out and just play amazing for you as to the best ability as we can. That's the title of this album, and that's actually a song, and it's the first song off of it. So I honestly think it's a decent song. 8 out of 10. It's pretty good. And then we go into Psycho Holiday. This is kind of like it's like going through rehab on a holiday or something. I think Phil went through some rehab and stuff. Like, basically, the meaning of this is getting away from your own mind and being able to deal with your own problems. But the problems are through his drug addiction, essentially. And that's what I read off the internet, and that's what I got out of it, essentially, in reading it. Anyways, I give Psycho Holiday a 7 out of 10. It's pretty decent. I mean, it's not basically amazing like an 8 or 9 or a 10, And then we go into Heresy. It's one of my favorite songs off of here. I have a lot of songs that I really, really like. And it's a decent sized album, by the way. But I give Heresy an 8 out of 10. Anyways, the meaning of Heresy is essentially about human dignity, ethics, and unity over any religion, and over essentially just like war, It's like we don't have any dignity, We go into war for stupid reasons, and a big excuse back in the day was basically religion, like the Crusades. And there's many other examples I could give also. But anyways, I give Heresy an 8 out of 10. It's a pretty good song. It's one of my favorites. And then Cemetery Gates. This is my second favorite song. It's slower paced. It's longer. But it's a masterpiece. And I give it, or just about masterpiece, I give it a 9 out of 10. And honestly, this song is about two of Phil's friends, alright? One of them killed himself, committed suicide because of a relationship, and the other one learned to mend himself. Both of them were males, by the way, but learned to mend himself and to move on from it. And these were some pretty close friends of Phil's, actually, So it really affected him pretty hard seeing them go through this, and how he lost one and another one made it, And relationships actually are they take a lot, And sometimes people's will, they just can't, But personally, I like to believe somebody can. They just basically have to deal with it, They have to push through. And I'm sure that affected Phil a lot, not just his friends, but it affected him. They were very close friends. He basically essentially got to watch his friends die mentally, slowly die instead of necessarily physically. But one of them did kill themselves. That's really sad. But honestly, I give this a 9 out of 10. It's a pretty cool song. And then we go into my favorite song of the album. That changed really quick from sadness to exciteness. But Domination. I give this a 10 out of 10. I think it's personally flawless. It's my favorite song. Basically, I think Phil was trying to talk about how the typical system of how you grow up in jobs and everything, how it's gonna happen, how it's gonna work out, and how it's always basically there to screw you over, essentially. The system is always gonna gain something out of you. It'll always screw you over in some sort of way. It's total domination. You can't get away from it, Basically, wherever you go. It's like you're completely controlled, essentially, and you can't do anything about it. Anyways, let's go into some extra information about this album. We're near toward the end of this video, but I have a decent amount written for the extra information. Personally, what I loved about this album are the heavy hitting riffs like in Domination, and how I was able to necessarily hear the drums more so. I could more so connect with the drums easier, you know. I could hear the drums. So that's something that I really like is when it's hard to sometimes tell the difference between the riffs and the drums. It's like because they're basically in sync, you know, for something heavy like on Domination. But that's what I like. And then the vocals on here, what I thought of Phil's vocals was basically this is the transition of the band from being power metal and glam to being Pantera, thrash, groove, you know? And just possibly the taddest touch at times of slight death metal. But other than that, I kind of liked it. How he added the high glam mix of vocals into it, but at the same time, after so many songs and listening to it, it's kind of like eh. But I still think it's a 9 out of 10 album. I still think it's amazing. And then we go into Dimebag solos. We already know everything he writes is crazy. He loves to use the whammy bar. We know how crazy he gets on it. And with the solo he does in Domination is just amazing, especially when they play in Moscow and the breakdown. It's amazing. It's flawless. And it's my favorite song by them. Yet, it's popular, but it's still my favorite song. But I wouldn't necessarily call this their heaviest album, or like at least anger driven album. There's two other albums that I would probably be pretty hard for me to pick which one's more like driven, you know. But it's also like another anthem of them, but basically essentially Cowboys from Hell is more of an anthem from them. I really enjoyed this album overall, you know. It's like the first 5 songs are my favorite, but this album was released on July 24th, 1990. It's considered groove metal and thrash metal, and it's their 5th album that really cemented them to start going to more of a thrash kind of way. And it really set them off and made them like explode essentially, you know, from the whole glam metal phase. But this is their 5th album essentially. This is an amazing album. I love this album. I give this a 9 out of 10. It's really energetic. It's really going. From the vocals, which I liked, to the drums, to the guitars, it was fucking amazing, honestly. Anyways, make sure to stay positive, and I really recommend people to seriously check this album. At least 3 songs off of here, of the first 5, honestly. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, make sure to stay positive, have a good one, and this has been Chaos.